Julantru, I am Captain Ri'shad, and welcome aboard my USS Kitbash of the Avenger and the Arbiter, but they are not the ships in question today. Welcome to Shadowstar, and welcome aboard the, I guess, sequels to the predecessor line to the, I don't know how to actually describe the ship that we will be talking about today. There are many things the playbase want to say about it. Negative, and some positive, and many things that people in the fan base of Star Trek itself wish to say about it, and question why other ships went alongside it. That is not the question that we have today. This is a Starship visual review video, and as such I get to ignore all of that, and we can just discuss the details that Star Trek Online have improved upon the ST Picard first showing for this ship. So I'm going to shut up and then start babbling to you as I introduce to you the Inquiry class. And we are taking a look at her within the Dyson Sphere, so I do apologise for her being so dark. Now, within Star Trek Online, we can start off here in the customization screen to discuss just what you can do customization wise with her, as she is a skin on top of an original existing Zen ship. The two templates of the Zen ships are available to you, the Arbiter and the Avenger. And if you have the Arbiter and Avenger already, you will actually require obtaining the Inquiry from the promo pack or the exchange in order to acquire this skin, and I would assume also be using the ship, as it is a vast improvement on the Avenger and Arbiter itself, with only one niggly downside properly of the turn rate. So, all ignoring, we can be happy to state that I do believe it's a bug that the Inquiry template is not down there, and that should be fixed in the reasonable future. But this ship also comes with its two variants as seen in Star Trek Picard for the nacelles that you can customize between. This allowing you to have the Inquiry's nacelles, and presumably this must have been what Riker's ship looks like. I'm going to go with, since the Beta's nacelles, well, I don't know why they'd be called the Beta if they were Riker's ship. Come on, lead ship. It's got to be the original nacelles, right? You also have the ability to customize the Saucer mission pod being a bit more standout. If I do and this, the central column, it's yeah, a fair thing to change. If you do want to change it, I wouldn't blame you. But then again, I do believe the Inquiry's one looks pretty damn good. Hello. The mission pod, pylons and nacelles. It's quite a fair bit to customize between. You also get a custom hull for the Inquiry available to you, and thanks to the update, the Arbiter, the Avenger and the Inquiry now have access to the Defiant, Galaxy, Intrepid, NX, NX Refit, Sovereign and Sovereign Refit skin types, along with the original types, Upgrade Veteran, and of course Type 0, which I call one of the original types sometimes, but I really shouldn't, because it is the TOS hull, and to be honest, it's not really Type 1, is it? It's Type Original. It's a good look on the ship, but we're not here to discuss the actual customized views like I was showing with the Kitbash that showed none of the Inquiry class. Let's discuss this actual ship. Oh, final point to make out, as much as you have the Inquiry windows along with Avengers and the other types, we do not get a bridge for this ship. So, no discovery but darker bridge. Right. Now that we're back out in space, let's actually start discussing the finer details. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that much like Star Trek Online, oh, was it the 10 Forward stream, I believe it was, announced a little bit about this ship when it came to its detailings. Trek Yards ironically pointed this out too, and that is that this ship itself is actually based loosely, I would say, or quite heavily if you see the actual concept art pieces, based off of an original concept art for Star Trek Online. It's the same designer that came up with the ship. Well, you can see how that can happen, right? This leads into some benefits. The ship itself will fit very easily within the Star Trek Online universe and won't really feel out of place. However, there are some other details which do just stand out because it makes you ask what questions to it. We will take a loose look at the end at all the nacelle details that I can come up with, so I will do some bits there since we do have to look at 2 nacelle types. So let's start primarily on things that will stay relatively the same throughout all ships. And, well, we'll start with the above view, just because it is something to stay at. The one thing I noticed first when we saw the ship in Star Trek Picard and in STO was it's got that very Sovereign-esque feel to it, just extremely bulked up in armour. It's essentially the Sovereign on steroids, is probably the easiest way to describe this ship. There are other things I find quite interesting to comment on, such as the pylons being, well, along with them being a lot thicker than normal pylons that are seen within Star Trek. I would also relatively want to joke and say there's a touch of Crossfield class just trying to cling on there with the edge of the pylon seen around here that is trying to move forwards towards the deflector dish underneath, and you can see the fin is actually going all the way up towards the deflector. It's not light, it's particularly there, and it stops just underneath the saucer, the saucer. Just one hilarious little point of detail to show on to. Other things to point out here is the way the neck is long and the whole body is sort of joined together to make it, well, a merged secondary hull to saucer. I do like this aesthetic and I do feel it works quite well. It's also more why you get that, again, feeling of a heavily armoured version of the Sovereign. As by the time period of this ship, we would have seen essentially the Odyssey Starcruiser launching, but the Sovereign would have still been in service. I mean, the Excelsior was still in service alongside the Galaxy. Of course the Sovereign was still in service. I imagine this to be the armoured sister of the Sovereign. At least that's the feel I get from the ship. To go into some extra detailing that I did find quite cueing nice about it was actually the escape pods. Obviously in Star Trek Picard there was a lot less detailing, so most of this detailing is added for Star Trek Online. We didn't really get a good view on the escape pods, but I imagine the escape pods would have looked like this, would be very Sovereign style, and as a result I couldn't be happier seeing these escape pods just because they fit very well in with the hull. I like the fact that the plate points for the escape pods appear to be modular as well. So it isn't just a case of the escape pods all have to jettison. It looks like a solid unit could jettison and then the escape pods could jettison from that. Or you could also just say, if they have an update in escape pods, they can just remove the module where these original escape pods are, put a new module in, and boom. Bob's your uncle. Not sure if I can actually say the second part. And you've got new escape pods if you wanted them. Also, with them being slightly lighter in hull colour, it makes them a perfect point to shoot at. I mean, it makes them very recognisable on the ship and probably easier to see among debris of the ship should it explode. Seek combustion. But that's from one point. Let's go to a negative, because I can play with negatives here a little bit. What is the lighting strip around the saucer? I shared some videos of this with in certain places. I've shared a lot of screenshots of this in certain places just to see what people would say. And I've got the same question as a few people were commenting. And that is exactly what on earth are the big square lights on the saucer's rim? I can understand if they were like part of the windows and that, and the only thing I can assume would actually take away from the very armoured feel of the ship, and that would be their multi-deck windows. Similar to what you may have seen, let's say, on Deep Space Nine. Where Deep Space Nine has the windows that go through multiple decks, I could see this kind of being the same thing. The only problem I would have with that is, well, you'd have to reinforce... Oh, hang on a second. No, that entire outer ring edge there does have a segmenting to it, next to the beam strip. So you could assumably say that that's all reinforced along there, and it's literally a walk path around the outer ring. It would be interesting to know reasons behind it. I mean, big problem is the RCS thrusters are attached there too, but okay. There's only one way I can argue against the big windows and the fact they're alongside the RCS thrusters, and hear me out now. We have ablative armor, definitely be on almost all ships during this point. Are they ablative shield generators? One of the consoles that you get with the Arbiter class is the ablative shield generator. Now, my assumption I would throw at this is, although the Arbiter class comes after this ship technically, was launched after it, and as a refit, you could say that this ship already had the ablative shield generators, and therefore proclaim that that's what those white lights are. Shoot me if you disagree. Feel free. Away from that, let's talk about something else that's a little bit armoured. That bloody deflector. Now, a lot of people aren't happy that this ship doesn't seem to have a deflector. STO seems to agree with that one, because they have actually put the deflector in. Now, I do know in an interview they commented and said that yes, this ship does have a deflector, and that in Picard you can see it. It is the section that you're currently seeing glowing white. The deflector is simply behind the grille. A lot of people have a problem with this. STO has been quite fun. If you use different hull types, you can actually see natural deflector appearances on that white light area if you want to. However, I'm simply going to say this. I understand people's quell with the fact that the deflector isn't there, so to speak, or the deflector is behind a grate. But let me just state Miranda class, Oberth class. There is technically a better one I can do. Okay. Dominion War, just about any Jem'Hadar ship. Romulan ships on a general. Some Klingon ships on a general. The deflector doesn't always have to be 100% visible, so I'm not too bothered by the fact it's not visible. I think what bothers me is I don't like the shape of it. I'm not sure why it's so rectangular, and that's the one organic thing I'm going to say about this ship, is that it's organically not organic. Here's a rectangle, here's a curve, here's another rectangle, here's another curve. Oh, let's place a rectangle, here's another curve. Could we make up our mind, please? I mean, from this point of view, everything's rectangular. But the moment you turn it just a little bit, oh, there's some curvature. I know you're going to have combinations of the two, but go for feeling, please, because Yeah, otherwise it just feels a bit out of place. Maintaining on the underside, I do want to go for a bit of a joke now, because a few people have thrown up the question, where's the torpedo launchers? I'm inclined to agree, but then I thought to myself, well, by this period, I mean, it will argue with STO, but could they have changed the way torpedo launchers work? My first thought was to initially say that the torpedo launchers are here, and it's those little red dots. But that's literally the only thought I could have. You got a little launcher there and a little launcher there, and that's the only things I could see that could be torpedo launchers. And I greatly want to question what on earth is next to them. They almost look like headlamps to me. Like they're supposed to light up and just light up everything in front of the ship. I did think it could be possible that these 4 circles here are torpedo launchers and the torpedoes just fire downwards and then target and off in whichever direction you need to go to. The Sovereign did have a 360-degree torpedo launcher, so I don't see why they couldn't change the orientation of it. Oh, sorry, a wide-angle torpedo launcher, not 360-degree. So technically torpedoes could do that if they wanted to. They're seeking. Yes, that's the only 2 points I could really think of. Continuing on to odd things on the ship, I have wondered, and the only assumption I can come up with is landing module or landing gear, what these big circular hatches are underneath. Now they're also armoured. You can see that that doesn't run flat. Oh, I'm going to have to turn. Yeah, that module on the ship there where the big circle hatches are doesn't run flat at all. So something is going on there, and that's literally the only thing I can think of. Is they're either feet for landing, because I wouldn't want to land it directly on the deflector anyway, since it's at a roll itself. You end up with the ship angled forwards like that. So my second assumption becomes their landing gear or docking clamps. Docking modules, I don't know. Bracers for docking with a different type of space dock. I'm unsure now. I've actually confused myself. There is something on this ship though that I'm pretty damn certain I know what they are. And that's these little vents underneath. We go from these hatches, go forwards to where the beam strips are. Glad there's some weapons on this one. And we have these lovely hatches appearing. Now I've only seen that kind of hatch in one place before. Normally it has a number on it, but I have seen it in one place before. Yep, you're right, you know exactly where I'm going with it. The NX class had under-saucer hatches for their shuttle pods. I have a sneaky suspicion that that's what those are. A couple of shuttle pods ready to go. On a note that has just randomly kicked to my mind, I just had another thought what these 4 circles could be. What if this ship has 4 warp cores? It's not unheard of to increase the number of warp cores by this point. This ship could be using 4 warp cores and it could just happen to be there. I know it's normally in engineering that you find the warp cores, but who's to say they haven't changed the design a little bit? The bridge is higher, the warp core could be just underneath the bridge. It could be possible. Though still I would want to argue and say, no, it's back here with the rest of the secondary hull. Another thing to note for the underside, because I'm just going to stay on the underside for now, we're going to move back here and, oh, we got service docks. I think that's the first thing that comes to my mind looking at these. It makes me feel like it's a section that opens up to allow for basically a large amount of cargo to be introduced to the ship rapidly. We know the ship will have cargo bays. The ship could have been getting used to help with colony evacuation. Yes, it's described as being one of the most powerful ships of the fleet. Not sure why you'd be using it for colony evacuation. But hey, if it's in a very dangerous sector, you're going to want a pretty damn good bodyguard. Wouldn't peg it against the Federation to be using a pretty damn good bodyguard to protect these civilian colonies. And in that case, yes, a quick way of loading cargo and living supplies, building supplies, would be a necessity for the ship. We're now going to move towards the back and look at the saucer, which has, torpedo launchers there. What actually looks like torpedo launchers there. That one, yeah. I don't want to say this ship has only aft torpedo launchers, so I am going to argue for days that those two little red nodules at the front are torpedo launchers. But I'm glad to see something that looks relatively like torpedo launchers are on this ship. I know with time, design changes, but then it's nice to see a few cues that make you go, yeah, I know what that is. Or give us more information, let us know that is how it's changed. Yoink. Now, the Hangar Bay itself is one of my areas which I have a big problem with. I'm looking at it and trying to figure out to myself how does that get out the way so ships can come in. It doesn't even look that big. We know that this ship is smaller than the Sovereign, thanks to it being based on the Arbiter and the Avenger scaling. It is actually essentially between Intrepid and Sovereign in size, but in Star Trek Picard it could have been a lot bigger. My concern is that STO has made it too small, and in the process of doing so, its Hangar Bay is a little bit of a problem, since it doesn't actually have a lot of room, and it would have to go in quite deep as a result. I mean, not too deep, but I do see little niggly problems to it, just based on the fact that it's there, it's got a huge door that somehow needs to get out of the way, and then it's got to have room to bring the shuttles in. The best I can think of is this door is using some specialized technology that allows it to sort of retract itself within a very small area, smallest area possible, without really taking up much space. It's the only way I can think of this one working, really. I do believe this ship will be carrying a few runabouts, so that's half the reason why I don't feel like there'd be much room left afterwards. By this point, I'd say at least 2 to 3 runabouts should be on this ship. But there's always room for you to argue there could be more space for runabouts elsewhere. So let's move forwards on the ship. Past the escape pods here, which I'm very glad to see, and we can go up to the bridge module. Now, the old bridge module itself has got things around it, something I'm going to finally talk about later, just because I'm uncertain of what we're looking at for these. But towards the bridge module, I like how it works on a multi-layer structure. What I'm going to assume it works on the basis of is you have your command deck, which is the first level of it. On the secondary deck, that is your diplomatic area, I would say. So at the back, you have your command structure, conference room, anything like that goes on in that area here, where you can just see the strip of windows. You'd probably keep at the back of the first level is probably where your captain's quarters are, and also your diplomat's quarters. Just because I do feel like that would be a thing. You'd have your diplomat's quarters in this area, as well as the captain. Gotta keep the captain close to the bridge. And then finally, deck 1, the bridge. It's at the peak, I know, big target, shoot it with all your disruptors, kill the bridge right now. Well, I also feel like it's pretty well armoured, and the biggest thing I appreciate about this entire bridge module is the incorporation of escape pods directly next to it. Too many ships in the whole of Star Trek don't have escape pods in very close vicinity to the bridge. Now, yes, a lot of these ships, such as the Galaxy class, can use the bridge module itself as an escape pod. However, that's a pretty damn big target that could easily get destroyed quickly. It's safer to say I want to say escape pods available for the bridge than have the whole bridge itself as a lifeboat. Admittedly, you can have more supplies on the bridge as a lifeboat, and I don't see why this ship couldn't eject at least the black modular section as a lifeboat. But considering the size of the whole bridge area, I'm glad just to see the actual life pods on there. Okay, down towards the very front. Now this is where we're going to raise the big final question I've got before we talk about sort of lesser parts. The pylons, the nacelles and the weapons. Because these bits don't raise too big of questions with me. So what is going on at the front of the ship there? I love how Star Trek Online has introduced an actual registration for the ship and place for the name. Yes, my registration isn't very fitting. I don't know the registration of the Zhanghe, so I just decided to use the year it was set. But we look around the ship. This is very good. Registration on the underside, registration next to the neck. Oh, and I forgot to talk about the electrical yellow piping there. Hey, guess what? There you go. There's a good detailed look at that. Now that's what I call detailing, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, STO. Back. Talking about the front of the ship, a lot of people commented when this could be a forward hangar bay and launch bay. I could see him launching the new generation Peregrine fighters from here. I could also see him launching shuttles from here. It's relatively large, so it could launch runabouts perhaps. I know the back one definitely can because of just how many decks that covers. But personally speaking, well, I'm going to go along with it being a rapid deployment fighter bay. Just because I can't think of any other use for such a random section of the ship to be like that. You could put a debate in there for it being used for other things. You could even say all these white spots are windows. You could say these are a secondary deflector array. I mean, there's not really much excuse for there being a secondary deflector, so yeah. But no, I've got to go with the consensus that I saw on SGO Space Dock and Truck Yards. I do believe this is a launch. Believe this is a launching platform, and my personal opinion is a rapid deployment fighter platform. Okay, right. Little niggly before we get to the back of the ship and weapons. You've probably seen it across this ship now, plenty of them. A lot of you have spotted it. A lot of you have spotted that there's two sizes of it. I cannot, for the love of mercy, figure out what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, oh god, here we go, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, blast it, I can't really see the ones on the other side. But yeah, that's just the top side ones. What are these little door-like things? They look like doors, they look like hatches. They could be launch platforms for shuttles. But the even smaller ones, there's no way they're launching shuttles. Maybe worker bees? And that's the only thing I can think of is quick deployment worker bees, maybe. Or maybe the little bots that we saw on the Discovery Connie might be a thing now for this period, and you could have rapid deployment robots to fix the ship. Not sure if that would be too fitting under certain things, but hey. Okay. I'm very uncertain. I'd love to hear what other people think. Towards the back of the ship now. First of all, I'm just gonna kick it right now. Impulse array. People love it, people hate it. I'm a hater. I'm gonna be honest, I am a hater of it, but only because I think there's too much there. The little triangles, take them away from me, and I would have probably been absolutely fine. In fact, bring the saucer, complete the saucer around in that section, and I probably liked it a lot more. Take up that volume there that seems to be negative flat space with a bit more saucer, and yeah, I could definitely have approved of it then. However, I do like the detailing there around the area. That is very reminiscent of detailing seen on the Sovereign. I love the way it takes details of this period fitting, or sort of the new generation Federation ships that would have been seen just prior to this period and in this period itself. And more than anything else, I do love the feel of the power that you can get from them. I like the fact there's a lot of sort of ribbing detailing there that shows it's like an exhaust section for the impulse thrust. But I really appreciate, again, the warmth and just the coloration of it. Something about that just makes it feel more powerful, more futuristic, more high-tech than anything we saw in, say, the Sovereign, the Akira, the Intrepid, the Galaxy. And I actually really appreciate that. I don't appreciate the goddamn Pylons. Now, I initially commented on them with the whole way they seem to have a vibe that they've stolen from the Crossfield class. But well, the easiest way to put it is this. The whole section where you can see this little red fin and the black line that's linked to it, you can see a sort of, there's a very fine black line running down there. That whole section on the back there, down to where the weapons are, take that little clip there, you can sort of see going on there. Leaving the weapons in place, of course. Take that section, both of them, rip it off and throw it into a black hole. That'll fix it for me. It's just a little too much. This is one of those cases where less could have been more. I know for designers it's very, very hard to get that balance, especially when they've done so many builds that they're trying now to make it look strategically different, yet also incorporate it so that it still fits. It becomes very difficult to do, and I understand that this was probably one of the ways to help it feel different, yet also feel fitting. But in my personal opinion, it spoils the design. I can't get to you yet, nacelles, so weapons. Now, I have to comment now on nacelles just a little bit. On these nacelles, we can see weapon modules placed on them. This is great in my opinion. Plenty of, you can see from their positioning, they can definitely hit a lot when you're in combat. Just one problem. Why on earth is one version of the Inquiry class armed with more weapons than another? The other version of the Inquiry class, with the beta nacelles, doesn't have any weapons on the nacelles themselves, so it's limited to the ones that you can find throughout the ship. I know that's not really a big deal, but it's a big enough deal for me to go, that's a design flaw, and why a lot of people would be wanting to command the ship with this over the other ones. Because with the extra nacelles, with the extra weapons, you at least know when you go into combat, there's a higher chance you're going to have a ranger target to hit with. And thanks to this ship, if you're in a fleeing pursuit, trying to flee the pursuit, you could definitely fire backwards more and hit more, trying to protect yourself from the rear. Not that that's necessarily a problem, as we're going to just get to, but I will also debate now that the other nacelles may be quicker, but I'll finalise the debate when we look at those nacelles. On this ship, you have the two weapons on the upper nacelle platforms. 2 at the upper rear of the ship, 2 underneath on the rear of the ship. You then notice slightly that the forward one there on the underside is blocked, so we can't continue to count that one. But we can count the phaser strips on the saucer as they can see towards the rear. We then also have the phaser strips on the neck upper side and also the saucer towards the rear there, though that angle is tight thanks to the nacelles. This gives this ship a total of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 rear firing phasers at its absolute maximum. It also can launch mines and torpedoes should it wish, so it will be pretty damn safe. Go towards the front, this actually hilariously gets less. You have your 4 that can fire forwards that we've already discussed, first 2, and then on the underside, plausible torpedo launchers. Maybe the grill here next to the torpedo launchers at the front are high intensity phaser strips, which would allow the ship to have more firepower. I could see that happening. And then it finally has the 1 strip on the underside next to the deflector, leaving this ship with a guaranteed 5 forward. You can probably see my little bit of a niggly here. Why on earth is the forward of the ship less defended than the aft? It's not necessarily a problem. You could discount the 4 that I initially said to the 12, and that would mean you have 5 forwards and 8 aft, but still that does mean that the ship is better defended. Note on that though, 5 forward, 8 aft, but with the other nacelles, 5 forward, 5 aft. I could see what was going on there. Definitely shows that the ship has decent firepower and is built for an all-range fighting mode. My big thing I do want to argue though is, why on earth are there no phaser strips in this very obvious place to fit them alongside the deflector? You've seen weapons right on top of a deflector before. There's nothing wrong with doing it. I do feel like that was a lack of thought to combat design. Oh, well, before we go into the nacelles, I actually want to just take this now on the secondary hull. I really do like the way this bit of hull texture looks at the back here. It gives the ship such a high-tech feeling. I know a lot of people say smoother makes it feel more high-tech. In my opinion, it feels more high-tech when it shows that technology is going in there. If you've got all those integrated planes that technically create a vulnerability point, and yet you're still able to use this on a ship this strong, that tells you it's hard. That's very high level technology. It's not considered a weak point to have it there. That's my counter argument to that one. Okay, so to the nacelles. Well, first of all, I personally feel like these nacelles are the combat ready type. This is basically because they're sleeker, less profile to allow them to be hit. They are exceptionally well armored. Great that you have line of sight for the warp coils. Facades are beautifully designed and very well shielded. Absolutely adore the pinstriping that's seen throughout this entire ship, but on the nacelles it just makes them feel aggressive. And that you did hear me right, aggressive, angry and aggressive. I have to combine the two because that's the feeling I'm getting from this ship. I also like the fact that they have got an established strong connection point and it's not dead center. Also, a little bit of a middle finger to everyone that argues, oh, to be strong it has to be really thick and boink. That's actually quite thin on that connection point, isn't it? If you're not careful, it could flop about a bit there. Oh, and it doesn't change though. But okay. How about the other nacelles? And here we are, out in space with the second nacelle design variant. Now, there is a lot to say about these nacelles, and a lot I could just Okay, I'm going to be blunt right now. These are the cells that when I first got a look on them, I fundamentally hated them. Like, straight out, no discussion to be had. I hate them. Whew, it's a good thing I let things grow on me sometimes. They're not actually as bad as I thought. And in truth, I've grown to actually quite like them. They do feel fitting to the Starship's design, and thanks to them being not in the same way as the other nacelles, they actually kind of help fix a few things. Now, ironically, Trekyard said this, so I'm directly, I believe Samuel Cockins said this, and I can't remember his exact quote, but I do want to give credit to him for pointing this out. The feeling of these nacelles, these ones specifically, gives the ship a more curved feeling. It allows the ship to actually feel very different, and all you've changed is the nacelles. Actually, it might have been Captain Foley that said it. Ooh. Well, we know it was one of the two. The thing is, I appreciate the fact that the nacelles can do that, and I do appreciate adding this fill, because I kind of have resultantly ended up liking this nacelle more than the upper one, because the one thing I don't like about the Inquiry class's design is the whole rectangular nature of it, and fortunately in this specific viewpoint that really doesn't work, but no, it does give me a kind of a bomber feel. I will say this about the nacelle: what I absolutely adore from it is it's very similar to the emissary class that you see in STO, and, well, quite frankly, it's rounded. I believe that's a subtle Easter egg nod to TOS, in my opinion. You look at the back, and again, I believe that's like a subtle nod. Just the way it's grated, just that little bit of grating, though I think that was introduced by Star Trek Online. Again, it's a subtle nod that could be a reference, might probably not, but I like seeing it. I really do love the feel of the armor that goes along this nacelle. Feels heavily armored, well protected, but I don't feel like this is the combat nacelle type. Be it armored or not, I feel like this is the turbocharged, get the warp reactor at full power, because we are going to go as fast as possible nacelle type. It feels stronger. If you look at the way the connection point works, it's actually centralized on these nacelles, which are, I know it shouldn't feel like that's more stable and stronger, but it really feels that way to me. You've got all these latching points behind it that also feel very strong to me, and also look like they're designed to purge something or release something. If you look forward on the ship, it's probably better I put a screenshot here, so hopefully I remember to do that. But there is a locking clamp on the nacelle here. If I go quiet for a very long time, I'll remember to show you, because the video will make me go, hang on a second, why am I not saying anything? And finally, if we look at the top side of the nacelles near the facades, again, it looks like there's a bit that's designed to either vent or release to be disconnected from the nacelle, much like on the underside behind the pylons, which to me just says this whole thing is designed to really burn itself out. It's a nacelle that is actually designed to be stressed, overworked, and just burn out on a repetitive basis, so that then you can just quickly remove the areas that burnt out, clipping new ones, just modularly connect the new ones, sync them up, and go back out. It's quick to replace the burnt out units, and at the same time allows the ship to, well, gun-ho a little bit more. Around the Bassard collectors, there's a lot of coolant veining going on, which definitely, again, screams to me that this ship, these nacelles are designed to be under stress. You have the line of sight, but it's kept very small, which could be said to be doing a concentrated warp field. Yes, it's still got to get around the entire ship, but with the way it's aimed at, you could say that the concentration bubble emanates to create a very strong section at the front of the ship with a narrow band at the rear to just really help punch it through space, with the way warp fields like to work. And the only thing I hate about it is that if you look at the top section of the Bassard collectors, they look great, they look grand, they're pretty big. But you look underside and they're narrow. Okay, so let's actually try to look at, oh. Yeah, I don't know if it was unintentional, but the underside one is actually bigger. And I think that was to actually get it a bit more visible when you go fully underneath. Because that narrow look looks great for them. But if you look at the nacelles, get the angles the same on each one. And you can see how one is actually larger than the other. And I might just have my eyes tricking me. That could be a thing. But I personally just don't like the feel of the underside Bassard. Then again, I've been an idiot in the past, so it's always possible. I do want to take this one notion, though, just to say there is possibly one phaser point on these nacelles. But I'm very hesitant to call it a phaser point, and that is these little circular points at the front of the nacelles, just in front of the Bassards. And the only reason I'm saying that is because they could possibly, maybe, be omnidirectional phaser points. But then I'm also here wishing that these little slats at the front of the nacelles would be removed so that red Bassards could be seen behind them. I personally would have loved these nacelle designs a whole lot more, would totally have fixed them for me if the Bassards were actually at the front of the nacelle itself. So, I'm done being an idiot. I am pretty stupid, I know. Now we get onto the Vantage Shield part, and this is where I raise a question. I know some of you will want to see what the Vantage Shields look like with this specific nacelle type, where others of you want to see it with the other one. In this video, we are going to physically see it with the other nacelles, the standard nacelles for the Starship. If you wish to see this ship with these nacelles go through the Vantage Shield segment of the video, then just click the link below or click in the description below. Very first video link there will take you to this ship being visually reviewed for the Vantage Shields with these nacelles. Forget watching the rest of this video, jump on over to that one. If it's not out right now, it will be coming within 1 or 2 days. Haha! Having said that, if you really wanted to, you could always snipe on over to Zeph Films, because God, he does bloody brilliant visual reviews. Right, let's start off with the Alliance Vantage Shield. Comes along a bit late for this ship, but hey, wow, okay. Right, so this is the Alliance Vantage Shield, available for free. First of all, the deflector looks blasted good behind it, doesn't it? I kind of like the way the deflector looks now, because the grating being black but the deflector itself being blue really works for me, and I actually quite like that. It semi-fixes the deflector for me, if I'm honest. It's not a bad looking ship. Okay, next up we can go to the Bayshore Vanity Shield. Has been a blasted good shield for the last few years. Let's see if it continues. Last few reviews. Well, not so great on the escape pods. Escape pods stand out like a sore thumb. The hole in the cell looks better. Actually, I could see this making the bait in the cells looking really good, in my personal opinion now. Oh, and look at that deflector. Yeah! Yeah, I like that. That feels really good. That feels Section 31 to me as well. Next up, Borg Vantage Shield. She's been assimilated, people. She's in trouble. The Borg are after her. Oh. Again, the deflector looks really good. This is what I mean. STO has massively helped improve the look of this ship in so many ways. And I like the fact the red is still there. Oh, when the red holds its metallic, I am very glad to see it's still there. Probably remains there because it's a fourth colour palette, separate from the original 3, which most ships work on the basis of. Next up, we have the Discovery Vanity Shield. Changing the streams to white, the nacelles look a little bit funny with that. Again, you might want to just adjust the escape pods a little bit. The deflector looks a little bit worse for wear right now. I'm very convinced that the little nodules at the front now are torpedo launchers, thanks to that look. As you will see when we get to the back. You know what, that red still looks absolutely amazing. It's a good look for the ship, I will give her that. I didn't mean to press that button. It's okay, guys, I'm just trying to increase my weapon power. I'm not gonna hurt you, I'm being nice. Emperor's Vantage Shields. Oh yeah, that looks good to me. And the deflector looks great too. Yeah, I can really get behind this one. No, the red with the sort of bluish purple tones, that works as well. Gives the ship a more menacing feel. I do approve. Next up, we're going to get a bit rusty. Feclari Vanity Shield. You know, it's not a bad look. And this ship is relatively aged. Yeah, very unlikely to see one of these ships looking like this. Bit odd about the blue glowing elements next to the red, but well, you can't win them all, and to be totally honest, I still like the way this looks. Again, look at those bridges there. Sorry, the bridges, windows there. That looks like multi-deck windows. I feel like this ship has a few of them. That looks way better when it went darker, didn't it? Just a whole lot better. Okay, time to whitewash it. Kelvin Divergence Vanity Shield. I apologise, ship. I have to do this to you. There are people that want to see this. Your deflector looks horrid. Actually, a lot of this ship looks horrid right now. It's funny how it's considered quite a bad tone because it wipes out a lot of the detailing. But there's just enough additional detailing at the back of this ship that it didn't wipe out the whole lot. The in-depth detailing here just managed to just save it. It shouldn't have been necessary. And the red accents. I'm sorry, Kelvin, but you look atrocious. Medical Vanity Shield. Looks like it's running to an emergency. Wow, the deflector looks interesting too. I kind of want to put sirens on this ship. Is that inappropriate? I actually want to see this ship. I said ship with sirens. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Platinum Vantage Shield. Oh. Oh, that looks very nice. Awkwardly, the deflector looks semi-unchanged. It's bluer than it was. You know what? It actually looks quite good. Definitely again with the black shroud on it. I approve. I approve a lot. It's even going to get a barrel roll out of me, that one. Yep. That's what I figured that one. That one gets a barrel roll out of me. Okay, hopefully the next one I really like doesn't come within the next minute. Finally, the Section 31 Vantage Shield for the Vantage Shield segment. Now this is awkward because the pinstriping fits kind of in with the red glow of the facades that have been blacked out. As a result, it feels more menacing and evil. It's like there's more facade actually going on there than there is. Makes the cells look a whole lot more dangerous. Not 100% keen on the deflector. Is it me, or is there a lot of red glowing elements being caught up in there just from light refraction? I think with the Avenger escape pods, that would look really, really menacing. I like it. I approve. Next up, we go on to everyone's easy to acquire Aegis Covariance Shield Array. Some people love it, some people hate it. I personally hate it, but I used to use it a lot, so I can't hate it too much. Wow, go low, and that looks like the deflector really isn't actually filling that whole space up, does it? Okay, that's interesting. Very uncertain of my feelings on this Vanity Shield right now. That gets a hard pass. Next up, a simulated regenerative shield array. So we've been assimilated. The Borg have come and captured us. Just gonna give this a quick pass while can, just because we are going to see full assimilation in just 2 moments. Assimilate my ship. What did you think I was going to say, huh? Right. Well, fun and games for the deflector, I see. Also, that module I like the fact it's bled through the underside a bit, so it's literally 2 segments of the ship that actually gives it more feeling than it normally would get. Actually, that just the impulse area itself looks brilliant in my personal opinion. That actually looks like, for once, it looks like it's actually been assimilated, and it's the way it would be configured to have been assimilated by the Borg, what they may have done. Unlike where they normally looks like it's just been tacked on. You know, like the nacelle looks like right now. It looks like it's just gone thunk, there you go. I wasn't really thinking about you, gonna put you in that spot and that'll do, yeah? I know why it's like that, because that's actually following the Avenger nacelle layout, where it would be fitting on the Avenger, and the way it's clipped in the Avenger. So is the rest of it, to be honest. Not necessarily a problem, but I do think STO needs to come up with a way so that between different ship segments, it will alter the way these parts clip onto the ship, just to help it be a bit more fitting. Next up, we will go to Bayshore. Bayshore Defense Covariance Shield Array. Okay guys, now there's no deflector. Yeah, I think that one gets a pass from me. Counter Command Covariance Shield Array. Now, I think this one would look better on the Avengers skin, or on, say, the Galaxy skin, possibly the Intrepid. But on the Inquiry skin, it's not too bad. Deflector looks okay. I just had a moment of heartburn, I do apologise. Not a bad look, how about we look at the Delta Alliance Unimatrix Shields. Now normally I hate it for certain reasons, we can see it already happening on the nacelles. This is going to get worse. I do apologise if you just heard me sneeze. Oh, actually, no! Thanks to the grill. The grill hides it. Oh, that's brilliant! Thank you, grill. I appreciate you so much more now. And do you know what? This actually looks... I take it back. I take it back. I'm lying to you. It doesn't look brilliant. The blooming impulse just ruined it. No. Ow. I'm not putting my headphones back on. Okay. Let's go then to the Dyson Regenerative Shield Array. Why did I just not say the last word there for some reason? Okay, right, well, looks absolutely magnificent in my personal opinion. Don't crash. I like the fact it's actually even overlaid the red, which I don't think any of the others have done yet. I definitely approve of the Dyson's shields. Not enough to get a barrel roll though. Not enough for a barrel roll. Right. Let's go to... Oh god. This is... No. Not on this... Not on this... Oh no. This ship is too rectangular for this one. Okay. Iconian Resistance Resilient Shield Array. Oh, Lord have mercy. I mean, at least it's better than it normally is, because it doesn't look super patchy since it's actually covering most of the ship. Deflector looks really good. I'll give it that. The deflector looks really good and really nice. Okay, so on to the next one. We have the Lucari Restoration Intuitive... Oh, come on, I nearly managed to say the whole thing. Lucari Restoration Intuitive Regenerative Shield Array. I apologise, guys. It's a fish. Why was that the first thing to come out of my mouth? Yeah, guys, it's a fish. Ooh, the impulse array looks really nice. Deflector's okay. I like the darker edges to it. You know, not a bad look. I'll say that right now. It's not a bad look. Okay. Next on the running, we have the Mako Resilient Shield Array. which really ought to look good on this ship just because it's practically Federation but with a little bit of a reinforced pattern, and framework makes it a little bit more chrome-like. And yeah, it's making the blacker areas chrome. It's not bad, really stands out like a sore thumb on the RCS thrusters, but then again, let's just remember right now that the RCS thrusters anyway are very standoutish. So, on to... the Nukara Crystalline Resilient Shields, aka what I call the Folian Shields. Sorry, I had to flick underneath. On this Vantage Shield, or this shield array that has a Vanity to it, the deflector is always really bright and in your face. Ironically, having the grey in front of it has sort of dulled that. You can see it trying to glow beyond it, but because of the way the 3D lighting works, it's being sort of dimmed. And I think that looks really good. Oh, really does look. Yeah, as you do that curve, see it's dull out because the grey is now too dense for it. Yeah, I like that. I actually really like that a lot. Makes me like that grate more. Impulse array looks pretty damn good too. Oh, and the red's back. Oh, sorry, I sort of twitched there a bit too hard. I was trying to see the bridge nice and cleanly there across the front. Right, and now we get onto the Romulan Advanced Prototype Covariance Shield Array, which awkwardly doesn't seem to be a big mouthful for me, but wow, my god, that does not look right. Wow, that was instantaneous in my brain. Like, nope. Gluck, 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 gluck. This ship is a goner. Yeah, the problem with this Vanity visual is just it doesn't fit on a Federation aesthetic very well. Temporal Defense Intuitive Regenerative Shield Array. Woo! I said it. Hey, look at the sandpaper and the eggshells. Go around high at first because I'll look at the deflector second. Ooh, that's not bad. It's not an overly bad look. A little bit dense on the oil and oh my god, look at the deflector. Look, the deflector is pure purple practically. And now I'm a rainbow. As Ablative movies once said, "Doctor, I think I'm a homosexual. How do you know? Rainbow!" Well, the deflector looks absolutely organic right now. I like it. But yes, that was a joke. Please don't take offense. Oh, I'm gonna get battered over the head by a friend in a minute. Right. Terran Task Force Covariance Shield Array. Oh! Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Hello, deflector. Ooh, looks alright. Not the best of them, but looks pretty good. This one has a very angry feeling to it. Also, semi-hides the detailing at the back of the ship here. It makes it very hard to see it. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Oh, look at that. That right there is sort of red. It's not normally a red pattern. Oh no, now it's the purple that it naturally is. That's interesting. It's dictating two colours. I do like the way it looks though, the way it picks up the light on there. It's a good touch. Right. Oh. This one's to you guys. Comment section your responses to seeing this Vantage Shield, because I'm not going to say anything. Okay, I'm going to say something. It just made the Hangar Bay doors look even worse. Like, seriously, what the is wrong with you? Oh! How do people... There are people that like this Vantage Shield. I don't understand it. They probably like flying it rather than actually using it. Is it even one that you to fly? Yeah, I'm going to just pass and question on that one. And... Ooh, okay. This one could be good. Jemadar Resilient Shield Array. Oh, this one looks really good. Really does need a texture overhaul though. Update the textures just a bit, please, STO. Go back to some of your older ones and give them a nice touch up. They deserve it, especially the Jemadar one. Jemadar one is such a beautiful Vantage Shield. I love how that purple and green really stands out there. It's a pretty good look for the ship. Doesn't get the barrel roll, but it's pretty damn good. Finally, love it or hate it, this is your Marmite Vanity Shield. Riemann Advanced Prototype Covariance Shield. Look at that, it's now black. Now it's chrome on fire. Let's go to this side. It's chrome in ice. Fire. Ice, fire, what the hell? I am losing my mind. I will say this though, my first impression of it was quite good. There's not too much honeycomb standing out in my face. Right. Oh god, my hand's twitching. I do apologise. Okay, the honeycomb is quite dense though. It's semi-consistently dense. The Phylacter at least looks pretty good. Jesus, I said love it or hate it, but I'm 50-50 on this one. I'm sticking with my favourite, but you know what? Nothing to me beats throwing together the Arbiter and the Avenger still, so... You know, you're a pretty damn good looking ship. If I had to rate it when we saw it in Star Trek Picard, my rating at that point, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'll be very honest, and this is going to sound like I'm going to be going negative in a minute, but it got a 4 out of 10 for me. I was really unimpressed. I think I was more unimpressed though because of the way it was introduced as well. It wasn't really a hero ship alongside ships of the fleet. It wasn't introduced as this is one of a few really biggest, baddest, best ships next to, oh, here's some Akira's, Intrepid, Sovereigns, maybe a few Galaxies left over. No, this is the biggest, baddest of the fleet, and now I've got an entire army of them at my back. Really? Did you like just recall the majority of Starfleet's fighting force for this one situation? Really? No, I have an issue with it. I also have an issue with the copy-paste treatment it got as a result, and the nacelles, and just the extreme lack of detailing, especially considering apparently I heard rumours that there was actually detailing meant for the ship, but for some reason there wasn't added. So when we go to STO's point on this, you'd expect me to be slightly higher, I guess, because I've added detailing. I'm a lot higher. A lot higher. STO's work with this ship just makes me give it a 9 out of 10 for style. I love how it's an evolution of the Sovereign class, and it sort of, thanks to STO's chosen way to paste it on top of another ship. Hey, was that a joke, STO? Did you actually mean to pull a copy-paste joke with the ship yourself? Well, they pasted on top of the Arbiter and the Avenger, shrinking its size as a result, and do you know what? Having a size that's between the Sovereign and the Intrepid works really well for me. It works well for the window design, it works well as an aesthetic feel of the ship, and the detailing they added to the ship, all over the ship to be fair, really brought the ship to life in my opinion. It took it from a ship that I was very uninterested, I don't care, if we never hear about this ship again, it's not going to bother me. I don't want to know anything more about this ship. I literally, it could never, if STO hadn't done this, and they'd never ever shown the ship again, I could have easily forgotten it even existed. But thanks to STO, I now want to know more. I want to know its size, its living quarters, the actual type of weaponry it's got. Is this Mark 14 phaser strips? Because I know the Sovereign had Mark 12s. Are we looking at the new generation of impulse arrays? Is this why it's clustered and much larger, because it's using a whole new generation of impulse arrays that they haven't quite shrunk down yet? I want to know what kind of living quarters they are. Do you have families on this ship? Probably not, because this seems very militaristic, very combat ready. What functions does this ship get actually primarily used for? What is its maximum warp? What is its maximum shields power output? What is its warp core efficiency? I really have too many questions now, and this is all Star Trek Online's doing. Just from adding these details to the ship, I love it. Thank you, Star Trek Online. I know people are angry at you because this is the year of the Klingon, because you're not doing a Klingon basis. This was a Federation only in the year of the Klingon. It really has hurt the Klingon fan base. I get there's a lot of negatives around it, but right now, as much as I agree with those negative parts, I am going to say thank you, because you brought this ship to a whole nother level and a whole nother light, and that deserves credit, because credit is due to that. Brilliant work, Star Trek Online, with this ship. Whoever finalized these details, you're a genius, and I can't wait to see the next ship. Here's hoping it's a nice Klingon one for us, because I know the Klingon fanbase want it, but at the same time, I'm dying to see a new Federation ship now, so that's going to be my problem. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate you watching all the way to the end of this video and showing Shadowstar the support by doing so. And I want to give a little bit of love and attention to our patrons, our donators, and our Twitch subscribers for helping keep this channel alive, and therefore help keeping me going. Our current work with this channel, as I have become monetized at long last, is to now reach the point that I can go full time. These targets and goals that I require to reach in order to do this requires me to reach an average monthly living allowance, and also be able to afford to work out and get a studio so that I can greatly improve the performance of this channel. This is what all donations and patrons support will go towards achieving, and I really do thank everyone that helps with this. If you check out the description below, there are links to all services of the channel. Discord has been completely overhauled by the Discord master Skyhawkings, and is now a very comfortable place to come and join us, so you can have your conversations and, well, share your own stuff. If you've got videos and stuff you want to share, the Cruise Clips tab that we have there and Clip Nominations tab is there for you to do that with. But I'm rambling, so for now I'm going to shut up. I'm going to hope that you've hit the like button and possibly subscribed, and until next time, remember, live long and prosper. And for anyone interested, Shadowstar Shipyards videos will be coming soon.